Like a drinking game we just played there.
Did we all?
Make sure your gizzard is like right near here when you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's good.
What is your title at Luxe Productions?
Grand Pumbaa, I think I saw somewhere.
Yeah,
What is
Lord of
that?
all. I don't. You know what? I'm not a title guy.
No?
In fact,
There's a volume.
see that. In fact, I am. I tend to shy away from that. I feel like if we had to come up with a title, I guess president would be my
Okay.
title. But I prefer like janitor.
Yeah, I saw that on your Facebook, I think.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
That is my preferred title.
I clean up behind the DJs.
That's exactly right. Yeah, yeah. That's where I
Behind
like
the
to
scenes, you clean it all
Yeah.
up. And
Yep.
But so you started Luxe Productions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What was the inspiration behind that? And behind, I know that's probably a long story, but behind that, starting the event company, and then also you're a DJ. So how do you balance those two? And then, but first of all, how did you start in both of those fields?
That is a long story. I'm going to try to make it short for all of our viewers.
Well, we have time.
Are we going to
I'd
officially
like-
start? Well, we have Jordan's out at 3.
Yeah, that's true.
so-
We do have a little over an hour, but yeah. So what was like the inspiration behind it?
So I think it's the tale of passion turned into career. So this wasn't the intention in the beginning. The intention was I went to school to be a chiropractor.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so very tight, very closely woven together, chiropractic and DJ. Obviously, that makes total sense.
1-2 punch.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what it was supposed to be. DJing was a means for me to get through school. So it was. I've always been passionate about music. I love music, but it was a way for me to make up that extra money for rent and living expenses and things like that. But that's all it was supposed to be in the very, very beginning.
DJ on the weekends.
Yep.
Make a little extra cash.
Exactly. Everybody needs a way to make some extra scratch, and that was mine, pun intended. And it started to go well though, and that's the thing that I didn't count on. This was supposed to be extra money, and in the same breath, I started to fall out of love with the chiropractic side. Okay. A couple things came true to me right away. I went to Palmer, which is down in the Quad Cities. And the thought of being stuck in a room 5-6 days a week, same room, 10 hours a day, even though I'm with people, which is how I'm wired, just being in the same location every single day, that I couldn't stand the thought of. And so when the DJ thing started to go well, fortunately, I was married to my wife, same wife, by the way.
Congrats on that, man.
Thank you.
How many years?
Yeah, 17.
17.
Good for you.
Well played.
Yeah. And so when luckily I was married because
I like how you looked at Josiah as if he's not with the same wife. If you,
not at all my intention.
Josiah is with the same wife,
It
by
was
the
a
way.
joke. Yes, just to clear the air.
But only 15 years.
Everybody-
so you
yes.
got 2 on it.
Sorry to interrupt.
Everybody has the same wife.
If someone didn't know Josiah, they were like, "Ooh, that was a jab."
No, she was very encouraging. So she was instrumental in having me step out of that comfort zone and actually follow that passion.
Wow.
And so, except because I don't know if I would have done it, honestly. It's scary. When you go down a rabbit hole for one career or one idea long enough, the thought of slamming on the brakes and totally pivoting in a totally different direction is horrible.
Yeah.
So
How far were you into the chiropractic journey at this point? You were like,
I was about 2 years into it.
Okay.
Now that's
Out of 4, is that a 4-year degree?
that's
or?
in the DC program. So I had already spent about 4.5 years in
wow.
my. So yeah, I'm approximately
you're
5-6 years. I'm invested.
Dang.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
I'm still paying for that. So yeah, we're not talking
how's that
about.
investment paying off for you?
Nobody has asked me to crack their back.
Is chiropractic school that expensive and
very
that
expensive.
long?
Yeah, it's technically
Just like doctor?
it's med school. Yeah, so
Wow.
all in, you're 8 years.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was about 5-6 years, and then when I decided to take a break, and when I took a break, that gave me the opportunity to have the headspace to really decide that this wasn't the path. So for a couple of years, I was just a DJ, plain and simple, and it was fine. It was great. Started to get more work than I could handle. Brought a couple of guys on to help, and it really started to snowball from there. But there was a couple of instrumental pieces along the way. And I think the common theme to my journey is people. And we were very fortunate that we had some really instrumental people, and some of whom are still with us today. And the production side of our company, which is the event side, we've got kind of 4 pillars that our company is built on.
I feel like we need a graph here. Or like
I can come up with a pie chart, maybe.
Perfect.
Yeah, or timeline.
Something very corporate-y would be nice.
Yes, I'll work on that. We'll edit that in right here.
No, we won't. I edit, so no, we won't.
As you can see right here. And so one of those folks was a guy by the name of Sean Denny, and he's still with us. And he started really pioneering the AV side of our business. That's where his passion lies. And he had a lot of experience in this, but I did not. I was good on the entertainment side, meaning being on the DJ side. And so he really started to help grow and shape that future. And if we fast forward, I'm skipping a lot of details. If we fast forward, the AV side of our portion is now overwhelmingly the largest side of our business compared to entertainment.
Audio visual? Or
audio visual
video?
for the listeners at home. It's audio visual. So that would be anything from projectors and screens, speakers, LED video wall, lighting, weddings, corporate events, and trade shows. Those
You
are
think
the
of
3
production.
buckets.
I mean, that's what I think of. It's
Exactly.
Like, yeah, that's
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. So I want to go back to you doing DJing. So how was that with your wife? She was supportive.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was a gamble. I
Yeah.
mean, is this a long conversation that you guys like, okay, it's either this or that? Or was it a gradual?
Oh, it's a huge gamble.
Yeah.
You kidding me? So much so, her support never wavered. But we had an idea. We were very clear on what we had pictured for our life, financially speaking. And so she's like, sweetheart, I know this makes you so happy, and I want you to go do it. I'm going to go to law school because we've envisioned this life.
Wow.
And while I want you to be happy, we still want to do some of these things, like have some vacations and have a family and, things like this that we had dreamt of and hoped for. And so she was super supportive of it, but she's also a realist. She's like, you can do this and you can make your, your bubble, whatever, but that bubble, that's not going to be what we have dreamed of, like, long term. And I was like,
DJ
100%
Jordan
you're
just
right.
sounds more prestigious than Dr. Jordan.
Correct.
DJ Jordan, it does.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
wait, so she was going to go to law school.
Correct.
So you guys would meet the kind of financial goals that you both
Correct.
envisioned.
Correct.
Wow.
Yes.
That is a commitment.
Yes.
You got a good one there.
I did, 100%. Here's the best part of the story. Not only did I not finish chiropractic school because I chose to change my path, she did not finish law school. She went.
Oh, she did?
But she
Okay.
didn't finish it for 2 reasons. One, passion piece, again. When she finally got in there, she realized that, well, maybe this isn't my passion, but also things started to go fairly well. And so she started to
On
think.
the DJ side.
On the DJ side.
For you, yeah.
And so she thought, you know what? Maybe we are going to be all right. Maybe this will pan out. This might work out. So it's kind of an interesting, we always joke that we're going to tell our kids, well, your mom and dad, we were going to be a doctor and a lawyer,
No, DJ.
but we ended up being a DJ and a therapist. So
your wife's a therapist?
She's a therapist. Yep,
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
Wow. That's
So
She's
quite
a
a
therapist out of this necessity, probably.
well, she became a therapist because she lives with me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yes,
Like,
yeah, that was real
She's
clear.
I
right
know
away.
all these tools already, so I
Exactly
might as
right.
well help other people.
Yes. Not only can I fix you, I might be able to help others as well. Yeah.
Wow. That's
I
a cool
remember
story.
I was at, I don't know how far into your journey this was, but my business partner's brother, JP Dixon,
Oh yeah, of course.
you DJ'd his wedding.
Yes.
I remember.
Yeah. Very
I don't
early
remember
on.
when that was, but
Very
it was
early.
a long time ago.
Yes.
And definitely not the same Jordan Chance
Not even
that we
close.
know today.
Not even close. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I got a little taste of like the solo DJ Jordan Chance
Ve-
early on.
very humble beginnings. I mean, we're talking mediocre gear, working out of your basement. Very, 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 very humble beginnings. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Okay, so before we go any further, can you just describe what your company does and kind of the types of events that you do, just so we have a kind of frame of reference of where you're at now?
So we've got 4 main buckets for our company. The first leg is entertainment. That would be anything DJ related. In that bucket, we primarily focus on weddings and corporate. Our next bucket would be AV. So that would be anything live that would require AV equipment, such as projectors and screens, lighting equipment, speakers, audio gear, things like that. That is primarily same corporate and wedding. Then we have a destination leg. So it's using our AV skill sets, but it's travel. And we're nationwide on that. So literally coast to coast. Yep.
Wow.
And then our fourth and last one is the trade show or exhibit side. And it's again, AV, but this time it's in the trade show environment, which is a very different animal than the other 3 buckets.
Yeah. And that's really been growing in recent years. Right?
It's our fastest pace leg currently. Yeah. Yeah. It is moving at a rocket ship.
Yeah. And these aren't from the pictures that I saw on your website, these aren't small events.
Correct.
You guys do some really
Museum of Science and Industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I say
the president came to town the other day. I saw they were doing AV for it. No joke.
It's true. Yeah. Twice.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Twice this past year, we worked for the president. Yeah.
Wow.
President of the United States, which was really a cool experience.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And you're here in Rockford.
Correct.
That's because Rockford is the center of the universe. And
no, are there, competitors as far as like Chicago? And you guys won that bid?
Oh,
that's amazing.
We have tons of competitors. Yeah. But, I think like a lot of things, everything is relationship based. So, the reason that we get pulled into some of these projects is just by the black book, you could call it, or the Rolodex, or whatever you want to call it. It's the people that we know, and then taking good care of those people, then we get recommended into more projects. But in this business, it is 100% who you know. I cannot stress that enough. So we work really hard to not only to gain those relationships, but then take really good care of them when we do finally get them.
Yeah.
People want to work with people they know and that they like.
That's right.
Yeah,
I literally just said earlier, people don't work with businesses, people work with people.
Yeah.
So it's not Luxe, it's us. It's the humans inside of Luxe that makes it special.
And you have, 12 people on your team?
So currently we've got 14 full-time, and then probably about 30 or so part-time,
I see.
Contract based.
Yeah, because that was going to be my question. I was like, that's 14 to put on all these events. That's a pretty small number. So
correct.
30 extra that you hire, depending on projects.
That's like freelancers.
Freelancers, exactly right.
Gig economy, sort of,
Okay, so similar to what we do. I assume. Okay, you just there's people in the
nice thing about the freelance, is that you can pick up those specialties, and we've got guys and gals that are regulars, so they understand the DNA of Luxe. They understand what we're about, but they work for all kinds of different people. And what's cool about that is they bring that perspective to us as well. They might do a show for a different company, and next week or 2 weeks later, they'll do a show for us, and they say, man, last week I was with these guys and it was really cool how they had this, this thing packed out, or, whatever. And they help bring inspiration and ideas to us.
I saw them do this thing in this way that we haven't done it before. I've seen that too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Kind of our industry. It's like, if you're always working with just the same people, you're only learning so much. If you kind of get into another bubble, then you can kind of bring some of that knowledge to what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me about this event for the president. 2 events. Two events for the president. Okay, give me details on like what kind of event, and then what were some of the, is there anything different that you had to do for that compared to your normal event?
So different. Yeah, you're working with the president of the United States, and so the intensity that comes into play is unbelievable. So 2 different events. One was somewhat local, is Belvedere. When he came to Belvedere, just about a month-ish, give or take.
Something like
I had no idea. Okay.
It's big news.
You didn't get an invite to that?
No, I usually do. That's weird.
It's strange. Snuck into town.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be on the podcast. Maybe
Next time. There's a lot of. I'm not. You know what? I'm going to stop. I'm going to refrain from any comments. Go ahead. Sorry.
And then the first one, actually, earlier in the year, was in the cities in Chicago, and so both were similar, meaning that he was delivering a speech, different topics. I think the first one might have been the Bidenomics, whatever they're called.
Bidenomics.
Yeah. Every president has their economic speech. And then the second one was because they are retooling the Belvedere plant. And they were given a bunch of big news. They went, I think they're going electric now, and it's going to be good for job economy and things like that. So anyways, just giving some support there. So what was really interesting is, first of all, if the White House calls are not going to call way in advance. So these shows come in at rapid speed. These are full-blown production. So very intense lighting, audio, streaming.
Yeah, it's not like you just set up a podium and a microphone. Like I saw some photos, and it's like there was all this staging, and you have some LED walls. Or there was some sort of like elaborate backdrop thing going on.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a full-blown produced event, but they usually come 3 or 4 days out.
Oh, no kidding.
And I thought at first I thought, well, is the White House just disorganized, or why this is a large event and why is this happening so quick? Not at all. It's a security. It comes down to security. And so they can't say, hey, it's the end of January right now. In October, we're going to have the president go to this building and speak.
Gives the terrorists 6 months to plan out.
Exactly. It's true. It's true. And so all these events always get super rushed. And so there's a real intensity. I mean, at a moment's notice, you got to, the warehouse is picking gear and getting things organized, getting answers and all that. And so that's kind of a unique thing. But the security element of it is also, so you have to be pre-screened, in order to be able, and our team does as well. We were fortunate because we are already in the database for the White House. So we have a different customer. We work with the Interpol. And so because of that relationship with the Interpol, we are already in a system that's been
approved vendor list.
Exactly. So
they were able to hire you. They chose you basically, probably based off that as a factor.
That and that helped, but actually it was some of our vendor friends. So a good friend of mine, a good friend of mine does all, I wouldn't say all, but the very large majority of the White House AV work. And they're based in Cleveland. Awesome company, Rock the House, and they actually were just looking for some extra support. They were super busy. And so they were like, hey, we're swamped right now. This is in your market. Any way you can help us out? And it all worked out.
Wow. So were you responsible for everything?
Nope. Just the lighting and video.
Just the lighting and video. Okay.
Yeah. And so then the video, we just simply harness the content, and then we send it to them, meaning the government, and they are actually responsible for the stream. So everything is so calculated and controlled. So we're just taking the camera feeds, and there's literally somebody from, I think he's from the Army or something, sitting right next to us, and we're just porting these video content straight to him, and then he's pushing it to the whitehouse.gov info because they want full control, just in case, God forbid, something happens or whatever the case may be. They're on a very long delay. And so they can be just, there's a lot of...
Any idea how long? Just curious.
I think it was 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so don't quote me on that, but it was pretty long.
Most news is like 3 seconds, or isn't there, or like broadcast stuff?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
It's a lot less than that, though.
And and potentially I just lied to you. I don't actually know. But it was a fairly long delay. I do know that. Just for some reaction time. If something were to happen, they just want to be able to cut that stream and deal with whatever it is they may need to deal with.
Yeah.
If you know what the delay time is, comments below and like and subscribe to Luxe Productions.
Yeah. There you
go. Wow, that is cool. Were there a lot of nerves during? I feel like anything live, I'm number one. I don't do weddings for that reason because I psych myself out. For a presidential event, I would be like not knowing what to do.
Yes. Yeah, the nerves are high. There's no question. Everything is so, like I said, I keep using the word calculated only because we've never been through so much rehearsal and so much scrutiny as far as, they're light metering the whole entire stage. Everything is so dialed in, and it needs to be. Mm-hmm. Again, we're dealing with the President of the United States. There's a persona that needs to be there. And no matter who the president is at any point, there's just, the point is that this is the leader of our country, and so it needs to look and act that way. Plain and simple.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Wow. It went well?
Very well.
Good.
Yeah. We're looking forward to, this year being an election year. And then the RNC is up in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And the DNC is in Chicago. And so both are close grabs for us, being conveniently located in Rockford.
That's right. You can hit both markets.
And so we're hoping that this will be a pretty healthy political year for us.
I was just in Milwaukee this weekend.
Yeah.
They were the Pfister Hotel up there. You probably
beautiful.
Yeah. They've been actively renovating it ahead of the RNC commission.
Yes.
But that's where we stayed.
Those are big, those are, I mean, huge events for both those communities.
I bet.
But I think something that's unique about, I from the outside looking at your industry is that you, well, for one thing, you just always say yes, it seems like you're like, yes, and we'll figure out the details later.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have just a whole nother, just the live component of stuff just adds a whole nother layer of pressure that we don't necessarily deal with in like the nonlinear like world, where it's like you walk from this mark to this mark and the light's perfect and all that. It's just
correct.
It's just a whole nother level.
There's a lot
of
of room
pressure.
for mistakes in our field.
Yeah. Just reshoot it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go back to one, but you can't have the president go back to one,
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm jealous of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I bet.
We get one shot. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did one live thing this year, and it was just like a corporate little event, like a half hour, 45-minute thing, and I was sweating bullets for no reason.
I bet.
Just because I'm telling myself, I'm like, okay, don't mess up the camera, don't move it this way, don't like get the focus straight and all that. And it's like,
But that's your world, day in and day out.
It is. Yeah.
do you think have you been able to adapt to that pressure, or is this something that kind of you think you've always had?
I've always been wired for this for sure. There's no question about that. I think that when we are hiring people for Luxe, I talk about event people all the time because it's its own unique breed. Either you're wired for it or not. And I tell people that are coming into our organization, if you're looking for a paycheck, you pick the wrong job, because there's a lot of businesses or a lot of jobs out there that are way easier to make a buck.
Yeah.
If you are wired for the live event industry, then this is exactly where you need to be. It is a certain type of human being.
Sure.
And that has to be exciting to them. That risk, that the pressure, the stress. There's nothing more rewarding.
Adrenaline.
It's huge adrenaline. There's nothing more rewarding when the show is done and you've got that euphoric, we did it. You know what I mean? Feeling like it is unmatched. It's like stepping off stage. If you're a performer, it's like stepping off stage. I mean, the endorphins are running. Like, it is very cool.
Yeah.
There is kind of, I guess, so when I initially went to college to study mass comm stuff, like the program they had was very broadcast oriented. So I got a little taste of that world. And something that's, that is kind of unique about it in a good way is that when you're done, it's done. Like we're gonna do it live, guys. It's this big thing, and you execute it, and there's no second guessing at the point.
Yes.
It's like it's done. We're done with the show.
Yes.
Whereas in our world, it's like
you're just starting.
When do you finish it?
Yeah.
Like there's never a point where you feel like it's good enough. So it's like at some point you just have to cut it off. Whereas you're like, nope, we did it, guys. Either congratulations, that was a good show, or we have some things to learn from the next time. But either way, you're like done with it at that point. So.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it takes a special person sort of to be able to handle that pressure and to work in that environment, how did you select your team? So 30 plus freelancers that you work with, that's a little bit easier, right? Because depending on the job, but you're 14 that are in the company. What was that process like selecting them? And I mean, that's probably a good amount of stress, and make sure you pick the right people.
It is. I think it's about placing them in safe environments in the beginning and really vetting them out first to find out if they are.
Yeah.
Most of our folks will be in a support role for quite a long time before they start in those lead roles.
Okay.
Because the lead roles are crucial. And then it's when they're in those support roles, that's when we start to really find out what their DNA is. We've had several folks that it just wasn't a fit, plain and simple. And we're open and candid about that. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because it's just not for everybody.
Yeah.
Doesn't make them any less of a person. Nothing. It's a wiring thing. Either you're wired for it or not. But when we have figured out that somebody is wired for it, that's when we can really start to shape and mold, that person. I think, and now what's really cool, what we're happening is we have currently in our organization, we have all the right people on the bus. We have the most talented and dynamic team that we've ever had in our entire history of Luxe. And what's really cool about what's happening right now is that our team is now picking our team. And so we will bring a new person into the organization, and the team, our current core team, will vet them. Because it's not about always skill. It's also about how do they mesh with the team?
Yeah, soft skills.
What's their personality, the soft skills. And so we'll bring them out on a couple of shows in just a simple support role just to see how they do with the team.
Yeah.
And our team responds. And they'll say, man, they were awesome. Or, I don't know about that person. They weren't really willing to help, or they had a bad attitude, or they're late, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And so truly now the hiring process is about finding people, bringing them into the organization, but then now the team is controlling how the team continues to grow. And that's been a really cool experience.
Yeah, that's great. How hands-on are you with that, with the company? Because you do DJing as well. So is that,
how often are you still actually DJing? I know you're going to be DJing an event here.
I am going to be DJing an event here, which I'm very excited about. I am DJing less and less. It's true.
Sure.
So the demand of the business is becoming a lot more. Years ago, I would DJ a ton, and I mean a literal ton. I would say in my peak, in my highest heyday, which was probably 2018 or so, I was probably doing around 100 events, give or take, maybe 120 events a year. Now, I've done two things. One is I've become a lot more select with the events that I'm playing. And then my rates have just changed dramatically over the years, which has a natural decline for frequency.
Yeah.
But that's been
$40,000. We just paid that to him to
that's
event,
that's right. Yeah. You my
just want to
Venmo,
set expectations there.
That's right. That's right.
I'm laughing, but it could be true.
It's not. I can tell. It is. It's not.
Depends on how much he doesn't
unless you want to pay that, I will come over. I'll do your dishes.
Tips accepted.
Absolutely, it's fine. So I would say to answer,
DJ and dishes has a good ring to it.
For $40,000, I'm moving on. I'm so okay with
Sorry
that.
to interrupt.
I'm an opportunist, so I'm down. Sign me up. I would say this year is going to be probably between 15 and 20 is what I'll end up with. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So big difference.
Sorry to hijack that. What was the other question?
How you balance or how involved you are in Luxe as opposed to doing DJ stuff. So, are you? So I come to you with an event. I want to, let's say, have a corporate event. Let me ask it this way: is how involved are you, I guess, in the process as opposed to having your team take over from beginning to end?
So it's interesting to say that. So we just kind of define this process and so it'll depend a little bit as far as how big of scale the event is, where it's located, things like that. So we've got a pretty incredible team that is good at quoting these jobs and putting them all together, detailing it, logistics, all those types of stuff. My real role is forming into, we kind of defined our process as hooking, booking, and cooking. And I stole this from somebody, by the way, our good friends at Total Entertainment. So I would love to take credit for it, but I can't.
It is catchy.
It's catchy, right? So hook it, book it, and cook it. So I am a full-time hooker at this point. And I'm putting that out there.
Same.
And
me too.
That's going to be a clip.
What are you talking about, though?
So I'm very good at opening doors and finding opportunities. And so that's what that hooking piece is.
Yeah, okay.
And then we've got a great team that helps book it. So that means once I've opened that door and warmed it up a little bit, I'm going to introduce our team, and I might help soft book it as far as like get some detailing down and whatnot. But somebody else will help get that quote out and actually get it signed and then get the retainer in place and all that. And then we've got another set of team that's going to cook it, which would be the actual detailing. Hey, how many trucks are going to go? How many guys need to go on this show? Are we traveling? Whatever the details might be. Do we need a hotel? You know, whatever the minutia of actually completing that job might entail.
Yeah.
I definitely am not. I'm very little on the cooking part, and I'm about midway in the booking part, and then I'm full blown hooker.
Full-blown hooker. You heard it right here, folks.
Sorry, I had another trail.
You're
I
still
wanted to
thinking
go
about me
down.
out there hooking.
Yeah,
I get it.
Sorry. So okay, interesting. And how do you? So the hooking part. How are you going out? I mean, you've been in business for a while now. How many years?
Since 09. Lux started
okay,
in 09.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Same year I started Bonza.
Really?
Crazy.
Oh,
wow.
I
09?
actually didn't know that.
09. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow, you
City Stage was 3 years ago.
Yeah,
we should do a podcast about that.
We should.
Yeah.
About how starting a business in 2009 is the only way to go.
2009.
So,
I was
too bad for you.
in high school, I think. No, but the
Thanks for making me
so
feel old.
you've probably developed like a good amount of relationships and clients and repeated work, things like that. Do you have to kind of focus on getting new clients now too, or is it still kind of been able to cycle through some of the old ones?
So I would say my time's divvied between two. One is maintaining relationships that we already have. We have some incredible folks that, they give us a lot of business, and we're super grateful for that. But there's a maintenance that's required for that. We're just making sure that they're happy, make sure that the relationship stays intact, the quality is there, and all that. And then it's absolutely finding brand new.
Because as you expand, you have to have
Correct.
bigger and bigger,
Correct.
opportunities.
Yep.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what are some avenues that you find those bigger potential clients?
I'll be in Nashville tomorrow. So for us, it's traveling, so we're focused on our destination brand, our trade show brand. Not that we're not focused on these two, but these are the two that I'm probably spending the most of my time in. And so it's gaining the relationships, whether it's a DNC or it's a planner or just anybody that might be able to give us some business. It's spending time with them. I'm a big believer in give. I'm a big believer in putting skin in the game. It is not unlikely if I get a small lead of somebody who's maybe a planner or somebody in a different state, I'm a big proponent. I'll go and have dinner with them. I'll just fly over there. The world is a very small place, and it's not hard to get there. People think that these are barriers, and they're just not. If you're telling me that somebody has a potential, nothing's guaranteed, a potential of giving us $100,000 or $200,000 worth of business, I'll spend the $1,000 to go out there, have that dinner, have those cocktails, and really develop a relationship. Because again, people do business with people and not businesses.
And an acceptable loss if it falls through.
Yeah. And
versus,
it happens. Yeah. And to be clear, it happens. Like I have done lots of these that go nowhere. It's just part of the process. But I've also done
playing the percentages, just like
that's exactly right. Yeah. If you swing 1,000 times, you're gonna hit at some point. So it's just about making sure that you're consistently swinging all the time.
Yeah.
Now, something else you do, or when I've talked to you previously.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
I want to follow back to that because I think that's a really, really important topic, but go ahead.
Well, I was just the fact that you go to a lot of seminars and like kind of personal training sort of things, and like continually developing, I guess, your skills as a person.
Yes.
Too, like, but if you have something else to...
No. I mean, that fits perfectly. Because my question was, how have you been able to... Because, okay, so when I first started my company, I'm 20 years old, and I didn't know how to talk to business people. I was landscaping. In high school, I worked at a junkyard with people who, took meth on the daily, legitimately. So then you have to transition, not have gone, to school or anything. So then you have to figure out, okay, how do I talk to these people? How do I connect with them? How do I show them like, hey, I think your money would be well spent with me, and not in a verbal sense, but like building that trust and all those little components that it takes to build a relationship for them to invest that money with you. So, I mean, I think that fits perfectly within the topic of like how have you over the years kind of molded these relationships and found ways to work them. And that's a bad way of putting it, but build
going
them
back to the hooker thing. I'm an opportunist through and through. So in every single conversation, I'm looking for that opportunity. And there's always an opportunity in front of me. So it may not be a today opportunity. It could be a future opportunity, or maybe it's a connector opportunity that leads to a new opportunity. So, but no matter what, there's going to be something that's going to be beneficial for me. I've had, I can give you examples of maybe I didn't do any business with this person, but that person referred me to their person, and that person we ended up doing business with. And so it's always being hungry and always looking for the opportunity. But, you know, the personal development side is huge, huge, huge. I am not the same person as I was 10 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 12 months ago. I mean, I think if you're not growing yourself, then you've already put a cap, a limit on yourself. I enjoy reading. I enjoy podcasts. I enjoy, I'm a big, like, I don't know if you, one of my favorite thought leaders, one of my favorite humans is Simon Sinek. And I think
great.
that he has just great tidbits, great, you know, information about how leadership can be authentic and how leadership is so important. And so always looking for those. And then my ecosystem. So the people that I spend my time with, I'm pretty picky with, and I try to really make sure that they have value add. One of my good friends, and I'm gonna steal this from one of my good friends. And actually, that's a good point to plug Dueling DJs, because he's my counterpart in Dueling DJs.
Dun, dun.
That's right. Ooh. So Ilche is a good friend of mine, and I'll never forget. We had a lunch a long time ago, and he said, you know, he's like, it's you're a bucket filler for me. And I said, man, what do you mean by that? And he's like, when I walk away from some of our conversations, sometimes my personal bucket is filled. And I thought, man, what a great word picture that was. And now I have tried to find, and Ilche is one for me, but I've tried to find other people in that fill my bucket. When I walk away from those conversations, I feel full.
It's not always a drain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You feel energized. You feel pumped, you know, invigorated, excited. And I think if you aren't experiencing that very regularly, then you need to find a different circle, you know, find, because there's people out there that's how they, you know, that's how they're wired. That's what and that's what you should be surrounded with.
So how draining is it being on this podcast?
Yeah.
You don't have to answer that question.
We are emptying his bucket.
We'll still got about 2 more minutes here, guys. And we're gonna...
My court is almost full.
Remember, put that in the comments below.
Yeah.
And
fight it out there.
Well, I think Simon Sinek, I haven't listened to him in a few months, maybe 6 months, whatever. But for a little bit, he was saying popular saying, but he kept repeating it, was the fact that you are the combination of like the 5 closest people that you surround yourself with.
Correct.
You know, and that's something that I heard him repeat fairly consistently. But is he still putting out a lot of new stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, he got lost in my algorithm. I don't know why.
Yeah. I haven't done this, but he has a course out now, and it's pretty reasonable. That is about public speaking. I thought that'd be kind of interesting. I haven't done it, but
yeah, public speaking, that one's tough for me. I don't know why.
To clarify, you have done public speaking, but you haven't done Simon's course on
correct.
public speaking.
Yes. To clarify, I have done it, and I enjoy public speaking.
Do you?
If you have any opportunities, yeah, I love it.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. But I haven't done his course yet. Maybe if I get a new opportunity out of this, I'll take part in that course, and I'll get.
If you had a public speaking event, what would you have it on?
I think it'd be something either entrepreneurial or leadership related.
Okay.
Yeah, those are my 2 passions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's cool. Yeah, Simon is a perfect. I gotta research him again, because now my mind's spinning. I was like, yeah, he used to pop up all the time, and now I just don't see him anymore. Such a good, soft-spoken guy with lots of good nuggets.
Yes.
I wanted to back up a little bit on. I guess what are some of the ways that you find in order to further yourself, in order to, you know, grow your abilities to lead and all those things? Do you do a lot of courses, or is this something like you do personally in your own time?
I like seminars. Some are industry driven and some are not. Industry meaning like whether it's DJ or you know, audiovisual related, or, you know, event specific. So I do like I love seminars, and I think I'm a people person, so it speaks. I like the human connectivity of seminars. So that's why I like going to seminars.
Just kind of being immersed in that thing for the period of time you're there.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? The seminars are good, but when you get a room full of people that are like-minded, because obviously they're all for the same reason, oftentimes it's the hallway conversations that I get the most gold from. And and then again, going back to building those relationships, that's where all that organic, stuff happens.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. Yeah.
So I like seminars a lot, and I do like to read. I'm hit and miss as far as how good I am about reading. I'm about to go on a vacation here soon, so I'm hoping to read.
So when you say you read, do you actually physically read, or do you listen to books being read to you?
Physically read.
I think you could say that's reading too.
Well, I like to listen to books read to me, but I cannot sit down and read words on a page.
Sure.
Have you always been a reader?
No, and I'm hit and miss.
How do you find? Okay, so I'm the same way as Josiah. It's like my mind will anytime if I want to think about everything and anything, I sit down and read.
Sure,
because then I will think about 1,000 different topics in literally 2 minutes.
Reading.
Exactly, and I'll read the words, but I'll be in La La Land.
Yeah,
thinking about the next commercial I'm doing, or the next podcast, whatever it is. How do you hone yourself in to pay attention?
I think I have to do it in times or places that I am kind of trapped. So like an airplane.
Okay.
Sure. So I fly a lot. So airplane is really good for me. I'm always like, do I pay the $8 and get the Wi-Fi and get some work done, or I could just read a book? So that's always a good spot.
Yeah.
Sometimes late at night, although I'll admit, oftentimes late at night, I'm either working or just trying to recharge. So reading is not recharging to me. My wife is a crazy avid reader, and for her, it's like recharging. For me, it's something to do.
Yeah,
it's like more of a chore. But I do enjoy the outcome of it. My brain feels like it's firing faster when I'm reading a great book.
Yeah, it's so tough. I mean, I think it's one of those things where you just have to go force yourself. It's like going to the gym.
Yeah.
You have to do it. For me, I have to do it. I have to go to the gym. I don't want to, but I have to. Same with reading a book, but it's so much tougher to do. I don't know why. So what kind of seminars? I just want to touch on this again. What kind of seminars do you find the most helpful for you? Because you're leading 14 people, and I assume it's not just. Maybe it is. Maybe it is just being like their boss and saying, "Hey, we have this coming up. We got to do this and this and this." But I think there's probably a lot of building the culture and building the brand and having a consistency that they all kind of operate and inspire to work at. So how do you mesh all that together as a leader?
Wow, that's not an easy question.
Yeah, I know.
So give us the secret sauce.
Starting out with maybe what are some of the things that you find them? I'm blanking on the term.
Culture-wise?
No, workshops or other events. What do you call those events where
that foster that?
Yeah, I guess what kind of things inspire you, and what kind of I'm blanking on the word. What the like Simon Sinek's workshop or his meetings.
Sure. Just
what's the term?
Yeah, just like personal development type stuff.
Courses.
Right?
What kind of what kind of things do you glean from the most that kind of help develop a vision and a structure to your company as a leader?
I would say a lot of it is my inner network, meaning that I have chosen a few people that are exceptionally smarter than I am to, and I'm fortunate to have just even have contact with them, but they're significantly further along in their path, or they're wired in such a different way from me that their perspective is so fresh and inspiring. And so I spent a lot of time communicating with them, first and foremost. Secondly would be the industry stuff. So I go to a fair amount of industry type seminars and things. I'm in a group called Think Tank, which is essentially I'm not sure how many people are in the group. maybe.
Is it a like a well-known thing, or is this a?
It's industry specific. So it's about
Okay.
50 of the biggest DJ companies in the country.
Okay, I'm thinking
Yeah.
of something else. then, I
Think tank is like a term as well.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's just what
Political
the,
think tank.
Right.
tank
Yeah,
or something,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so these are the folks that are the big movers and shakers nationwide. And we just had, that's actually what I was just down. I was in Florida last week, I think it was, for a think tank. We do 2 symposiums a year. And what's cool is that these guys and gals are spread all across the nation. And so their perspectives are wildly different. And then they're although they're all in entertainment or production, they've got different focuses or shifts. That could be because of their geographics. It could be because of their customer base or whatever the case may be. And so to hear their perspective on things is really enlightening. I just told you kind of the funny, hook it, book it, cook it. And that came from my think tank. It came from, there in our, and so it's these little nuggets that you hear and you're like, oh my gosh, I love that. Like, that's so great.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's kind of those 2 main things is the seminar piece that's industry related, but then a small group of individuals that are wildly smarter than I am and spending time with them and consistently picking their brains. I think it's interesting. I just left. Be careful how I'm gonna word this, but I was just in a continuing education type thing. I'm gonna be a little bit vague about it, but just because I think it's important to always be super challenged, and if you're not one of the dumbest people in the room, then you should probably go find a different room. And so I just left an environment just simply because I was not feeling quite as challenged as much, and that was the best thing I ever did, because then I found a new environment that I am like way over my skis, and I'm learning a ton. It's
That's
like
great.
every time I come in, it's just like standing in front of a fire hydrant. And that's refreshing. It should be that way.
So I find this, I'm 2 years ago, I moved here and I feel like now I'm all of a sudden surrounded by awesome creatives and awesome business owners who I feel like, oh my gosh, I've got a lot to learn from. The problem that I face is just realizing like, okay, I'm definitely the dumbest one. I'm definitely the most inexperienced one. Not
So you're in a good spot.
No, exactly. No, I am. And I meet, so many people that I'm like, oh, he does this so well. He does that so well. But the problem is I always think, okay, what can I offer back? So there's this trade-off that happens, and it's not like all relationships have a trade-off, right? So what is your trade-off, and what are ways that you look for bringing value to those people that are that you kind of are looking up to and are learning and gleaning from?
Like just justifying that they spend time.
Yeah, exactly.
with you?
Exactly. I mean, like with Josiah, when I first moved, I was like, the dude's connecting me to so many people. This is just personally, I was just like, okay, what I want to be able to offer him something back, and I'd help him around Gear Room, and I'd help him around here. So that was like my thing of like, okay, I know that there are physical things that I could do here at the studio. I want to be able to provide some value to Josiah for all the things that he's doing me, jobs that he's bringing my way. How do you find that is that something that you give thought to?
It is something that I think to often, but I think sometimes depending on who you're talking to. So if they're in a certain point in their career, what really fills their bucket is watching you take advice, actually do something with it, and pushing it forward.
Yeah.
There's a tipping point in everybody's career where you're no longer necessarily needing something back. And it's just as fun to give and watch somebody else prosper with that knowledge than it is to get something tangibly back.
Yeah.
I've had some great mentors through my journey, and now I'm very much willing and focused on kind of giving that leg up to that newbie, or whatever. I know that if I can help them skip 2 rungs of the learning ladder, like that's a value to them.
Yeah.
But somebody did that for me, and I think. So I don't know if you have to. I don't know if the question is necessarily what do you need to give back. I think if you have somebody in your life that's giving you, I think that now you have the responsibility to actually do something with it, and that is payment. There's nothing more frustrating when I sit down. There'll be somebody new that comes into the industry, and I'll offer to come and have a coffee, or maybe they might reach out to me, and we'll spend an hour together. and we'll brainstorm some ideas. And not a single thing ever comes out of that. To me, that's a waste of my time. You just wasted my time.
A great or what's coming to my mind. Are you a musician at all?
No.
Okay. Well,
I'm a DJ.
You spin the tunes.
Yes,
That's it. But like think of like a music lesson. Like
yes.
my wife used to teach, piano and such, but like I remember her saying she doesn't anymore because it was just frustrating with these kids or adults even that would come in, pay money for the session, and then they would do nothing between that and the next time they came back.
Exactly.
But she almost held on because of like one or two students that would actually put in the work and come back the next week largely different with the information that she gave her the previous week. So I can see that kind of fulfillment in that sort of business mentorship situation as well.
Yeah, that fires that person up. That the person that's ahead of you, that fires them up.
Yeah.
That's
wisdom
what we
I've
want.
gleaned.
I mean, that was
I'm
beautifully
sharing
said.
with this person. They're actually doing something with it instead of just squandering it. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm just maybe that's just my mindset is like, okay, what kind of value can I bring back? Which could be a personal flaw too.
Well, I think there's a time and a place too.
Yeah.
Because as you're receiving some mentorship and you're using that and you're building something, what you're potentially building might have such a huge impact later down the road. So be open to the immediate, because I think that there's, like you were saying, like you're helping around or whatever, like to me, that shows the grit. So that's going to make somebody like Josiah even want to double down, not only like you're appreciative, you want to do it and all that things. And so now we really, really want to go above and beyond and help as much as we possibly can. But I think the value could come much later down the road. When your craft is so, needed or dynamic and we need an expertise like that, that's what, like, man, I wouldn't be here without that guy. Like, I'm going to help him out. That's I think there could be a delayed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I love you seem to have such a passion for this, and just a passion for connecting with people. Yeah. Well, and I was just, as you were talking before, and all your, just the fire and the passion I could see just through your eyes and your expressions. And I was just like, man, I'm glad you're not a chiropractor. Like that would have been a waste.
Right. Yeah.
No offense to the chiropractors.
No, support.
But,
I still go to one. Support your local chiropractor.
But I'm just thinking, where, with all this passion for like putting on events and business, entrepreneurship, where do you think all this like zest for this came from originally? When, in high school or when you were a kid, did you have any like sense of what you wanted to do when you were that young, or was it just kind of trying to figure out, swim the waters and see where it goes?
Yeah, I've been a hustler since day one. So I grew up in an entrepreneurial household. My dad owned a small business, and I didn't know any different. So I did the stereotypic stuff as kids, but I was always an opportunist. The second that snow started to hit the ground, my first thought wasn't sledding. My first thought was shoveling.
Wow.
So, for me, I've always been an opportunist.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm now trying to pass on to my kids, is that I know for a fact that I can make money every single day. I know that for a fact. It's never been a question in my mind. And the reason is partly because of the hustle mentality. I'm also very, I'm super hard worker. So to me, I'm not above anything, right? So if I need to make $100 today, I'm going to make $100 today. I'll just go knock on my neighbor's door and be like, hey man, you got leaves in your gutters and I can take care of that. And notice you got some, like there's always a way. It's that a lot of times people aren't willing to do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's beneath me.
Yeah. Why would I do that? Why? Because you can make $100 today. That's why. You need $100. So go do it. And I think that's what I'm trying to instill into my kids, is just looking for the opportunity. So, when a storm comes ripping through your neighborhood, guess what? Sticks got to get picked up. If you're a kid or a younger person, there's a lot of opportunity for cleanup or whatever the case may be. But no matter what stage of life you're in, no matter where you live, there's always opportunity. And so one thing that my dad did very well is that he instilled into us at an early age that they weren't super giving people in a sense of like, hey, here's this huge allowance, or hey, we'll buy you whatever you want, or like that. But what he did do was he said, if you ever want money, I always have a job for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so what it did was, and literally anything. So it matched in my brain effort to value.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to work for it. And so if I wanted that new game or shoes or whatever the case may be, I would just go to my dad. I'm like, Dad, I need to make $100 by Saturday. What do you have for me to do? And he's like, all right, wash the truck, clean the garage, whatever the case. He makes some stuff up.
And you do that with your kids today?
So yes. The short of it is yes. So when our kids ask for something above and beyond, they now know that when they come up to us, they say, how can we earn this?
Sure.
And so, because to me, it's about them understanding, well, first of all, mine doesn't grow on trees as much as I think that might. And second of all, just getting that value in place, where if I want something, I'm going to have to work for it.
Yeah.
And so, and as an entrepreneur, nothing has changed, right? So if there's anything that I strive towards, whether it's, it could be a physical asset thing, it could be just a time. Time is a commodity. Maybe I just want more time back in my life.
Yeah, to hang out with us here at the studio.
That's exactly right. There was a cost that had to get paid for that.
The president is waiting outside, I hear.
Fill our buckets. Jordan, fill our buckets.
But I just think that there has to be so early on that was ingrained. My brother and I had a very lucrative lawn mowing business when we were in high school. And
I feel like I have vague recollections of this.
Yes. Oh yes, I'm sure you do. So it never changed all the way through. I mean, I can tell you story about, but what I started to learn early on was how to make a buck and look for opportunity.
Yeah.
No matter what could be. And then just being relentless about actually doing it. I would hear somebody, because it starts to change your wiring, because you could just be in conversation and they're like, oh yeah, I got to stay in the deck next weekend and I'm really not looking forward to it. I'll do it for $500.
So you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can sit back in your easy chair.
I heard there's a need and then there's a problem. So if I can solve the problem and fix the need, they might go for it. And so it's so now when I'm in conversation, I am always evaluating opportunity. Always, always, always.
Where can I add value? Is that like a question that goes to your mind? Or what questions do you ask yourself, like, as you're kind of just listening to people in the world?
Good question.
First, that's a great question. First, it's looking for the actual opportunity. And then, is it in my wheelhouse to solve that? If it's yes, then it's value. Now, it may not mean that I personally do it, because providing a connection for the value is just as good. If I have, someone that's like, man, we want to, we're going to shoot this commercial, but I just don't even know where to start as far as getting somebody to figure that out. If I send them your way, I'm providing value. Now, I don't have any direct dollars associated with that, but after Josiah goes and does a great job, their event that's 4 months later down the road, a live event, they're going to come back to me because they're like, dude, you hooked me up with this great job or this great guy. Like, thanks so much for that. We want to use you now for our live event. Without
necessarily even getting like a kickback from that transaction.
Yeah, can we go on a tangent about kickbacks?
Please do.
Can we just not do that?
I'm all for it.
Because here's the thing. Look,
Kiko's given we
got 10 minutes.
So we have about 10 minutes before you're hard out at 3.
That's fine. Okay. I'll make this quick.
Go on your tangent.
I'll make this.
No, you can stay we're here as long as you want. So time is yours.
If we have to wrap up in 10, I would love to have you back, man.
We're good.
I have so many more questions.
So really, 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 really quick. People get referred because of what they bring to the table, not because there's a financial obligation. And if I'm referring somebody, I'm betting the fact that there should not be a financial kickback, but there better be a social pressure that because I referred you, you better do 110%. because it's also
Yes.
my name on the line.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want $1 from you. I want my customer that I sent you to text me and say, holy crap, man, this guy's awesome.
Yeah.
That's how I got paid. And because now that's instilled in their brain that I'm the one that referred them and you took great care of them.
Jordan just knows good people to connect with. That's like their mindset.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jordan's going to be my first.
Do you
phone
find
call.
that a lot in your line of work? Because I mean, for the most part, in our industry, I don't think there's a kickback really. With-
People try.
People try. I don't think I've ever encountered it.
I don't like it either, one bit.
Yeah,
But
I think it's an awful way to operate. It's but do you
terrible.
find that a lot in your?
It's hit and
Business?
miss. Yeah,
Okay,
in the
okay.
city, there's a fair amount in Chicago.
Okay.
well, that's the Chicago way.
Right.
Yeah, that's strange. I
Yeah.
agree with you 100%.
Leftover
That was
from
well
Al
said.
Capone.
I would rather someone acknowledge just like, hey, that was a great recommendation.
Yes.
And now they're going to trust me.
And obviously,
with
they're
other-
probably going to refer back to you too if they don't do
Yeah.
production and DJ work.
Correct.
You know?
Correct.
Yeah. And then you build so many closer connections. You
Yes.
know, this summer I had so many, like at one point we literally were sitting in this podcast and we're like, right now we have like this web of jobs going back and forth just in the studio. And then that's other people, and not just the people here outside of the studio too. Like this whole cross connection of people doing business together.
Yep.
For each other, you know, for someone else that recommended someone else. And it's beautiful. Like,
Yes.
that's how you build those relationships. And that's how
Correct.
you just enjoy life more. Not just like, give me 200 for this, or,
Exactly.
I recommended this to you. Anyway, there's a lot I want to do, want to dive into. Let me try to get that straight. But in the short time that we have left, I love the fact that you have in your bio on Facebook,
I don't remember
president.
what it says.
It might be president, but the part that stuck out to me was janitor.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes. That's
Yeah.
there. Yeah, that's real.
That is, I don't know why, but it just like, it makes me feel good in a weird way. When I read that, I was like, wow, that is a really down-to-earth person and someone who is not above anything. And, there's so many people will get to a point in their career where like, oh, I don't do this anymore. I don't do that anymore. I've worked too hard and now I'm in a place where I have other people to do that. But the mindset changes. Your mindset hasn't changed. You're still, I bet you if I told you to come stain my deck for a certain amount of money, you still would.
Yes, I would.
Because you're not above it,
Yes,
know?
I would.
So
It goes back to the title mentality too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that just over-grandize their,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
What they wanna call
sensationalized for
themselves,
all the
yeah.
wrong reasons.
Yeah. No, I just really love that. Number one, I want to compliment you on that because as right when I read that, I was like, truly, I was like, oh, that's what I want. That I want to be that. There's certain things that in life you walk through and then all of a sudden you pick out a person, oh, this person's really kind, or this person's so interesting. They tell such good stories. And you're like, oh, I want to be that.
Yeah.
And that was one of those things. And I haven't had that in a while. And that was just I was just thought deeply for a while last night. It was late. I think I texted you really late, so I
asleep.
apologize. Yeah.
Sorry. I thought about texting back at 4:30 in the morning when I woke up, but
Thank you for
That'll
not.
teach him.
No, but it really melted my heart. Is kind of but truly, it
This
was
is a
just like,
special moment
Yeah.
we're having.
yeah, I just thought I want that. That's one of those little nuggets along my walk that I'm like, I want that mentality. I want to keep that. Where do you get that? Do you think? I mean, obviously you grew up in an entrepreneurial family, but I think there's more to it than that, isn't there?
yeah, there is. I think humility is such an important piece to leadership. I think it goes back to like, who do you follow? Who do you surround yourself with?
Yeah.
Egos are a big deal to me, meaning like I'm really against them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were in the event industry in 2020, there was a little snafu that happened that most of you will remember. And the whole world shuts down. If you were in the event industry, you were literally cut below the waist. And if that's not humbling, if that's not a reminder that at any point tomorrow we could just be done, then I don't know what is. I think that was a real gift to all of us. Now, it was hard. I'm not trying to say like, oh my gosh, 2020 was the best year ever. No.
And we could talk about how you shifted that year. And I know we talked during that time.
That's a whole nother podcast. But I think, now that we've got some hindsight, I think part of it was just giving us perspective. And we say, tomorrow's not promised, those are nice, things that you can put on your bathroom wall and
cat
stuff.
posters.
Right. Cat posters. Yeah. But, I think that for me, that seared literally like a brand into my brain, because I can specifically remember telling my wife one day, I was sitting on the deck, and I probably had a beverage, or 3 or 6
green tea.
Of green tea.
Yeah.
And I said, it's not that I thought I was invincible. It's just that I always thought I would see it coming. And I don't think I'm invincible. I think that our business can fail. I think that we have things to lose. I think that, right, make some bad decisions, you're going to have stuff pay. But I thought I would see it coming, right? The ship starts to go down, and then you try to guide it, and then you try to bail it out, and then you try to figure it out. And usually, depending on the size of your company or whatever, you've got a little bit of runway there to figure things out. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But in 2020, we didn't. It was instant. Within 1 week, it was done.
Wow.
And so I remember saying that to her, and I think that was, that really was like a moment for me to put life really into perspective, because we don't know. And so going back to the whole like title thing or whatever, we're servant leadership. That's how we're built, at Luxe, and that's really important.
Yeah.
I think that our top level leadership, their primary responsibility is to help with our next tiers down. It is literally their job to serve them, because if we serve them, then they can do their job. And if they do their job, then all of us have a job.
It's like a hospitality focused kind
Mindset.
of
Absolutely.
mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. I absolutely love it. I think, I it's one of those things I'm going to hold on to. I really am. Because I have found myself where sometimes there's a balance, right? You can't take work that is not paid well enough for what your normal rates are.
Yeah.
Different. I mean, you guys probably have rates too, right?
Yeah.
But
No, I get it.
sometimes it's just the mentality of like, oh, I'm a little bit above that.
Yeah.
And it's just important to remember.
Well,
it was just a great reminder for me.
I think what you're talking about is it's just about your ideal customer. Like you are tooled for a specific customer. And when you have that specific customer, they have to hit some qualifiers, right? So it's the fact that they like your style, they like your personality, and then they have the budget to work with what you charge. So it's not about being better than anybody. It's, like when you talk about, like the different customers, we talk about that. We have a wide range. Our events, range, anywhere from a few $100s if we're talking about a very, very, very small, simple, rental up to $500,000. And so it's a very different customer. It's a very different experience. But all of them matter equally. And that's such a cliche and weird, like stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
But my point is that you never know. I have had $100 rentals turn into really large customers. And so if you have the intensity and the focus for each and every one of them, you never know where just a small nugget or a small opportunity might lead to. Now you guys are a little bit in a different space, just meaning that the product and service that you guys deliver, there has to be some sense of a minimum that you've predetermined that makes sense for your business. That's fine. But as long as it meets that threshold, even if it's on the bottom of the threshold, hey, cool, it's in the threshold, it makes sense for us, so we're going to do it. May not be your big catch for the year, but you never know how that might be in the future.
You're still going to give them that brand experience that you associate with what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And you said it so well. I got into the weeds on price and what the size of what you're worth. But that's the mindset. At the end of the day, that's what it is.
Yep.
Is your mindset towards it, and having that humility is it's huge. And I'm going to be thinking about it, to be honest with you, just from your small little Facebook thing.
Cool.
So I want to be respectful of your time.
Yeah.
This has been a fantastic conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much for coming out and joining us on the podcast. I want to have you back. So say you're good.
Please.
You're going to be back.
This has been fun.
Good.
And you guys have great tea.
There's a lot more I want to dive into. The DJ side especially, and then also
I want to dive
the
more into
event
the production side.
Yeah, and then the
big
event
stuff.
side, there's just a lot more questions I have in terms of creating that,
We're
creating
just
an
going to get as
environment.
much free information out of you as we can.
Yeah.
I will
Just-
give anything that I'm able to.
Because I think there's more of a science to it, if I'm not wrong.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's dive into that on the next one. Really good to talk to you, Jordan. Thank you so much for your time. And guys, thanks so much for listening. I
want to
hope
acknowledge Francisco in the booth too. We
Yes.
didn't include him in the show
Kiko.
today, but Kiko, thanks for holding down the fort there.
Appreciate it. I think it was a great reminder for me, and hopefully it was for you guys. Have the humility mindset. I think that would be. I mean, that's
Let
what I
others
got.
praise you and not your own lips.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
A
Well, thanks
wise
for having
guy
me.
once said that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.